Hello. Okay, so I got a new thing to show everybody, and it's this. Disclaimer: I'm kind of ill today, but I really wanted to make this, so just bear with me if you could. Um, so yeah, it's your typical charge move, kind of. It uses the animations from Nightcrawler's running, and I sped it up, and hopefully it doesn't feel like you're just running as Nightcrawler with it being a power and being guided and faster and all the effects, whatever. Like I'm really hoping when people use it, they're not just like, oh hey, I'm just Nightcrawler right now. And yeah, I added the trail effect from Captain America. It changed the colors around, also changed the height a little bit because he's like quadrupedal. He's not standing erect, so it needed to be a little bit lower, so it wasn't coming out above him. I also the trails that come off, like there's the big main trail in the center, and I totally just spoiled the thing that he does, but whatever. And then there's the trails, the little trails that come out, and it's always driven me nuts that they were like too wide. Like the radius at which these like little trails show up would be like Captain America would be charging, and there'd be trail coming off him like way over there. So I tightened all that up so that all the trails come off an area where like his body could realistically actually be. But yeah, so I already spoiled it. So he can do this. And oh my god, I've been wanting to make it do this for like 2 years ever since I built the Sabretooth for X-Men Legends 2. And in order to make it so that he can bounce off walls like this, we had to do a deep dive. I knew that Beast could do something, he could leap off walls in X-Men Legends 1, but that hasn't been a feature since then. So if the coding still existed, it would be ancient and outdated, and it was. Uh, but yeah, originally he could like use his grab against a wall, and he'd go up against the wall, and then depending on what button you press after, he'd like launch off the wall at guys. It was really cool. It's a part of the like much more advanced like basic combos of the old games. And I've always wanted to add that to this move, and here we go. It's working. In order to get it to work, though, I had to the hit it. I had to use a certain handler from way back in the day that hasn't been touched since X-Men Legends 1, so it was very difficult. For a long time, I couldn't figure out why when he leapt off the wall, it didn't chain properly into his animations, and he kind of like started about and went like blah, 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 for like a split second before continuing. And it's because X-Men Legends 1 doesn't have any blend times, whereas MUA does, and blend times help you transition from one animation to the next, so I had to add a zero blend time to the charge right after he leaps off the wall, which is why there's a little bit of jank. I hope that doesn't bother people. There's a little bit of a stutter when he goes from leaping off the wall to the charge. Um, anyway, let's get having fun with him while I keep talking about it. It's set up so that there's actually two charge blocks or whatever you want to call it. There's the normal charge, where you hit the button and you charge. But there's another version of the charge that happens directly after you come off the wall, because that charge has zero blend time, so that it will come off the wall properly. And then after it does it once, it then goes back to doing the normal charge. But since I had this additional charge that was, I call it the wall blend, I set it up so that it would have auto aim when it comes off the wall. And I wasn't sure if I liked this at first. I went back and forth on it for a while because it does take away some of the manual control, but it does it in a way that's quite effective. At the end of the day, the slight manual control you lose, it makes up for it, because when you're like moving around, the camera's moving around, and you keep bouncing off stuff, and like you can get disoriented real quick. So this made it a lot easier. He also has a turn rate that's very high. It's as high as Captain America Shield Dash, because once I started bouncing off walls, like it was slightly lower. But then once I started bouncing off walls and having to get my trajectory right to really like play with this power nicely, it had to be increased. So now he's got a turn rate akin to the Captain Shield Dash, and I don't know if you noticed, but the Cap Shield Dash does crap damage. It's like useless. I use it as like a sprint, and that's it. It's so bad. It does way less damage than like Bull Rush from Thing, but Bull Rush doesn't turn as quickly, right? So I've been wondering if I should change the damage and make it so that it's more akin to Shield Dash, or somewhere in between Bull Rush's damage and Shield Dash's damage, because of how controlled this is. But that's just some balancing stuff that I'll work on over time. You don't have to worry about that. I'll get it squared away. So there's some fun features with how it interacts with the walls. He will, I've noticed like over the years, uh, moves that are like sustained moves, like you hold the button and it keeps going, can be really, really hard on EP, on your energy, especially for characters like Beast or Colossus or other characters that don't have a high focus stat. And that's because there's just no regeneration time while you're doing it. So what I did with this one, I did a couple of things. If you code at all, you might have seen something called is power equals true within the code. That means that when the power is in use, your normal energy regeneration will not activate. So I removed that so that his natural EP regen can help counteract the like high cost of it being just a consistent energy burn. And with a character like Beast, where his focus is low, I felt it balanced out like really well. Another thing, uh, to help incentivize the use of this bounce here, I made it so that it stops costing energy while he's on the wall and then goes back to costing energy when he comes up off, because I found I was burning energy a lot more by not just like stopping, turning around, and then doing it again. So now it's worth it to like leap off the wall instead and take advantage of its auto targeting and whatnot to redirect and keep going. Uh, I did a lot of playing around before I decided on how exactly I want to do that, but yeah, that's how it works. So you can, if I do this, I'm gonna die. Nah, I don't want to take it. I kind of want to show you how the energy goes down, but I'm just gonna end up killed if I go out of God mode. But yeah, so that's how this works. I'm super happy with it. It's a lot of fun. Oh, also another feature is enemies will use the fastball at the end where they do this forward roll. This is a unique one that I gave to Beast that has like a slight bit of a slide to come out of like the speed a bit better, to like marry it with like his momentum a bit better. I think it looks smoother, but it also can hit guys. See? So you can get like do a double tap if you come out of it like that. You can usually hit one with a double tap. Which helps, keep its effectiveness up when there isn't walls and stuff to ricochet off of. Because there's a lot of powers where they ricochet off walls, but then become useless in like an area like Mephisto's Realm or something, where it's just all going off the screen. Whereas this one, I think, keeps its effectiveness whether there's walls or not, and that is something I really enjoy, especially considering using these charge moves could be a pain before in enclosed spaces. And yeah, so I think I covered that pretty good. I think this is my favorite power for Beast so far. I think it will stay is my favorite power for Beast because it is awesome. No, sir. I deny this whole you grabbing me. You must have rolled like a nat 20 on that one. But yeah. Oh wait, my bit rate is not high enough to be able to survive this many things in this room. That's bad. So was there anything else to say about this? I mean, I covered where the animation came from, right? And the effect and whatever. It's got a little poof of smoke that comes along with the effect as he's running, a trail of smoky poofies. Yeah, it's been a long time since I actually made one of these videos because I kind of got distracted working on other things and like life and stuff, and I was like, I have got to get this one out. It's way too cool. So yeah, when he comes off the wall again, it's a slight bit janky because there is no blend time, but trust me when I say I did everything I possibly could to make it as like close to perfect as I could, because there's a lot of issues when you bring something from X-Men Legends 1 into MUA that's like yeah, the handler I had to use from X-Men Legends 1, all of a sudden MUA is trying to blend it and the handler's like, I don't know what this is, don't make me do this, and then it had a conniption fit. So I did what I could. I think the little bit of jank, it bothers me slightly, but I think it's worth it. I hope it doesn't really bug other people. Like, it still feels smooth. It still works really well, but just that slight stutter, it does catch my eye. It drives me nuts. But hopefully you guys are down with that slight bit of jank, because I've been very unsure about it for a long time. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about it, really. It's just your typical charge power. I've got to play around with maybe the balance of the damage, and maybe the EP costs a little bit. There's going to be sounds to it as well. Probably the usual like rushing charge, like breathy sort of noise that'll go along with it. Um, yeah, I think that about covers it. That's his boinga boinga thing. I don't know. I'm calling it Charge right now, but that name's going to change because Daredevil has a move named Charge, and it also feels like a little too general. So, especially considering these moves in the description thing are just straight up called Charge moves. Like, on the side there it says Charge. So that'd be a little redundant and boring, right? So it'll have a new name. I'll get that figured out eventually. So, yeah, that's Beast Charge. You know what? Since it's going to kill me, I'll just show you real quick how the EP drains. Did that work? It did. Okay. So see, the EP's draining, it's draining, he goes on there, it stops draining. Also, it's not draining too terribly, well, for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's at a very low level. Also, because his EP regeneration can actually happen while it's active. Which the EP regeneration is very slight, but it helps. It helps. Not a lot, but it helps. Yeah, so, that's power. How many have I shown now? I guess that's the fourth one in our little series, and we got a couple more to go that I'll talk about how it changed and did stuff with, like that one and that one. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Anywho, thanks for listening. It's been awesome. Have a good one.